5FM, Uyo. First, the top stories. Presidency releases up-to-date names of President Bola Tinubu's appointment. Akwa Ibom State Government constitutes task force on primary health care services. Federal government to launch e-visa and digital cards. And on the foreign scene, Niger adopts Hausa as national language, replacing French. In sports, Niger Premier Football League fines Shooting Stars Club of Ibadan 5 million naira and closes stadium to fans. We have details of these and other stories coming up in a moment. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at this hour. My name is NYAKNO, Albert. And now the news in full. The presidency has provided a list of President Bola Tinubu's appointments to date in defense of allegations of lopsided appointments. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information Strategy, Sunday Dare, the list has 29 appointees of the president from the Southwest as against 24. The Southeast has fewer appointments as it appears that the West, where President Tinubu comes from, has the majority of the key appointments into juicy positions. The list of the president's appointments to date include members, Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edon, from the Southwest, Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu Audu, Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi from the North Central, Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Taga, Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare Muhammad Ali Pate from the Northeast, among others. And back home, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino has approved the composition of the Akwa Ibom State Task Force on primary health care at the emergency meeting of the State Executive Council held yesterday. This was contained in a statement signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Prince Enobong Owa, in line with the objective of the Arise agenda to reposition primary health care in the state. Those in the composition include the Deputy Governor of the state, Senator Akon Ayayi, as the chairperson, the commissioners in charge of the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, and the Special Assistant to the Governor on Arewa as members, among others. And to the national scene now, the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, says the federal government will launch an e-visa system and digital landing and exit cards to enhance national security. Keyamo stated this yesterday in Abuja while receiving a delegation led by the Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo. According to him, the e-visa system will enable applicants to submit visa requests online and upload required documents electronically, noting that the manual landing and exit cards will be digitalized, requiring visitors to pre-fill their information before traveling to Nigeria. Keyamo said further details will be given by Dr. Tunji-Ojo, adding that relevant agencies such as the Immigration, NCAA and FAAN would fully support the initiative. He emphasized that the e-visa application will be free and is designed to simplify entry into Nigeria while boosting national security. Meanwhile, the federal government has urged African countries to be resilient over the retaliatory tariff regimes some countries have imposed following the new trade policies introduced by United States President Donald Trump. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edon, who spoke at the 4th World Customs Organization Donors Conference for West and Central Africa region in Abuja, described the tariffs as a call for the deepening of intra-African trades. Edun said the consequences of the new tariff regime were still being studied all over the world and reminded the region of the need to be mindful of the emerging challenges threatening its collective progress for greater integration and prosperity. He further stated that the recent international developments, such as the imposition of reciprocal tariffs by the United States and the significant reduction in foreign assistance through USAID, have direct implications for the region. Away from that, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced a balance of payment surplus of $6.83 billion for the 2024 financial year, marking a decisive turnaround from deficits of $3.34 billion in 2023 and $3.32 billion in 2022. The CBN made the announcement in a statement signed by the Acting Director, Corporate Communications, CD Ali Hakama. According to the CBN, the improvement reflects the impact of wide-ranging macroeconomic reforms, stronger trade performance, and renewed investor confidence in Nigeria's economy, stronger trade and external account performance. Although foreign direct investment fell by 42.3% to $1.08 billion, the overall financial account posted notable gains. The country's external reserves has increased by $6.0 billion to $40.19 billion by year-end 2024, bolstering its external buffer. Moving on, the National Identity Management Commission (NIMC) has cautioned Nigerians against disclosing their national identification numbers (NIN) to unauthorized individuals or organizations in exchange for monetary compensation. The warning followed reports that some residents in Anambra State were being lured to submit their NINs for money, a practice the Commission described as illegal and punishable under the NIMC Act No. 23 of 2007, the Data Protection Act, and the Cybercrime Act. In a statement issued yesterday by the head of corporate communications of the Commission, Dr. Kayode Degoke, NIMC said the illegal activity had been brought to its attention and that arrests had already been made in collaboration with security agencies. The Commission said upon receiving the information on the activities of the unscrupulous individuals, NIMC, in conjunction with the Department of State Services and the Nigeria Police Force, swiftly arrested the culprits, saying they were being interrogated and will be made to face the full wrath of the law. You're listening to Global News at noon on Memories 96.5 FM. We'll bring you more reports after the break. Do stay with us.
Stay up to date with all the latest in news, sports, and entertainment. Memories FM
96.5.
Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned to Global News at noon on Memories 96.5 FM. And now to the rest of the news. On the foreign scene, Niger's junta has adopted Hausa as the national language in the place of French in a further break from Paris, its former colonial master. Since overthrowing civilian President Mohamed Bazoum in July 2023, Niger's military rulers have severed relations with France, kicking out French soldiers and renaming streets and monuments that bore French names. A new charter published in a special edition of the official journal on March 31st, 2025 says the national language is Hausa and the working languages are English and French. Hausa is the most widely spoken language in the country of 26 million people, particularly in the central southern regions of Zinder and Maradi and in Tahua in the west. And outside Africa, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says a list of 155 Chinese citizens are fighting for Russia in the war. His comments come after 2 Chinese fighters were captured earlier this week, marking Kiev's first official allegation that China was supplying Russia with manpower. Speaking to journalists yesterday, Zelensky reiterated his claim that there are many more Chinese nationals engaged in the conflict based on information gathered by his government. China has previously denied many of its citizens are fighting for Russia, saying the claim has no basis in fact, with Beijing yet to respond to Zelensky's latest figures. And in sports, the Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) has fined Shooting Star Sports Club of Ibadan the sum of 5 million naira for crowd violence. The league body has also restricted the club supporters from gaining access to home matches at the Lekon Salami Stadium until the end of the season. Shooting Stars were found guilty of all 3 counts of failure to provide adequate security, failure to ensure proper conduct of their supporters resulting in attack on the opponents, and throwing of objects onto the field of play in their matchday 32 encounter with the Ikorodu City last weekend. Shooting Stars is required to within 48 hours indicate acceptance of the ruling or elect to appeal the decisions. And that's global news on Memories 96.5 FM. But before we go, let's take a recap of the top stories. In the news, we told you that the presidency has provided a list of President Bola Tinubu's appointments to date in defense of allegations of lopsided appointments. We also informed you that Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino has approved the composition of the Akwa Ibom State Task Force on Primary Health Care at the emergency meeting of the State Executive Council held yesterday. In the news, you also heard that the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, says the federal government will launch an e-visa system and digital landing and exit cards to enhance national security. And on the foreign scene, we reported that Niger's junta has adopted Hausa as the national language in place of French in a further break from Paris, its former colonial master. And in sports, the Nigeria Premier Football League has fined Shooting Star Sports Club of Ibadan the sum of 5 million naira for crowd violence in their matchday 32 encounter against Ikorodu City last weekend. The news this afternoon was edited by Ofonisebasi Johnson and assisted by the production team. For views regarding our news or coverage of your newsworthy events, you can reach us on email newsroom@memoriesmediang.com or call our Newsroom hotline on 0909 000 0581. You can also follow us on Facebook at Memories 965 FM and listen to us from anywhere in the world on Radio Garden at Memories 96.5 FM. Log on to our website at www.memoriesmediang.com. And now let's take you down memory lane. On this day in 1973, Pakistan adopted its third constitution, shifting the role of Zulfikar Bhutto from president to prime minister. That's the news. Thank you so much for listening. My name is NYAKNO Albert. Good afternoon.